it's you, you're talking to me. I'm like, you can't be that way about me. I'm that way about you. You can't idolize me. And then then he starts talking to this other guy, this other musician, Billy Morrison, who just got off the road with Billy Idol, and he's out on tour with Black Sabbath right now. And he's like, dude, come out. Ozzy and Sharon are like my mom and dad, and you'll get to meet. I mean, it's like, what? I mean, you know, what? I'm gonna meet Ozzy Osbourne? And then in the script that we just read, Pete says, don't get lost, Ozzy Osbourne. Because I mentioned it at Comic-Con, and Rudy had come to Comic-Con wearing a Warehouse 13 shirt.
And there's a character named Oswald in the thing.
There's a character named Oswald, so it worked out, but Jack and our writers, I mean, you know, it's just, they love us, and they show us, and it's been, you know, that's the dream for me, man. You know, like, this is the dream. It's talking to people, having you guys come up with your kids, and like seeing the looks in these kids' faces when they're like, oh, it's Pete. And then I'll go, you know, hey, hey, hey. And they're like, I mean, that's, you know, what else? It's been the best experience of my life.
Well, let's go ahead and open up to audience Q&As. Yes, ma'am, right here on the left.
You actually took my question, so, but anyways.
Okay, sit down.
Get out.
How are you most and least like your characters?
Aaron, have you ever been dead? I've played dead a lot, so I'm pretty good at that.
Pete is very well hung.
So least likely.
And I'm Irish, so enough said. And not black Irish. So. What? There are no kids in here.
I've heard that one. This is Warehouse PG-13.
Well, I mean, come on. Every Warehouse episode, you got 19 Cialis commercials. You know, I mean, I'm sure you have to explain to your kid, Dad, what's erectile dysfunction? Like, who wants to explain that to their kid?
Why is everybody taking baths so much, you know?
Yeah. And then I talked to a kid and he was like, you know, Eddie, or a man who watches Warehouse, and he was like, yeah, he's like, it's weird because the men that watch Warehouse 13 don't have trouble getting boners, they have trouble getting chicks. And so, you know, I gotta reach out, hands across the water, man.
Yes, ma'am, on the right.
Well, I'm a big fan. So, I'm Eve, that's my name. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you. We had our pictures taken.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering, like, what was your favorite artifact in the warehouse that you had to be affected by?
Go ahead, I've been talking a lot.
I had to think about this a lot, but I think the one that is my favorite is definitely the metronome, because without the metronome, just for Aaron as a personal thing, I wouldn't be in a job right now. So I've decided that is my favorite. It brought me back to life. It gave me a job. It let me be part of this for longer. So that's by far my favorite.
And is it Allison trying to swipe that? Are you guys?
Hell no, she's not getting that. We're gonna fight for it. We're gonna arm wrestle for it. Mercy, I don't know what we're gonna do. But she's not getting it. No, I mean, we might share custody of it. I don't know. That's what she wants to do. We'll see. I'm still hoping to get there.
For me, there are two. The first one was an artifact that we never actually saw, but Pete talks about when he put on Abe Lincoln's hat and had an uncontrollable urge to free Mrs. Frederick. Apple bite. I mean, that was one of our first scenes together, and so much fun. But the thing that struck me about that particular artifact is like, it showed me how, you know, Warehouse could kind of transcend and kind of, it's okay to talk about things that might otherwise make people, you know, with the whole rape, like, oh, you know, that could be racially questionable, but it's not, because it comes from such an honest place. And I applauded the show, I applauded the network, and I applauded the fans to be able to go, hey man, we're all in this together. To me, it was kind of like, it felt like we're all in this together, and we can all kind of look at our differences and study them and be aware of them and have a good sense of humor about them without it being, you know, too heavy. So I love that one, and then I love the Spine of Sarazin from season 1, where Pete gets the thing that it was an Aztec. I'm assuming you guys know what I'm talking about, but
They've never seen the show.
Have you seen the show? It was the first time, and I think in my career really, that I had been given an opportunity to really be incredibly, to kind of mine these emotions, like to be able to scream out in pain, and like, it was so cathartic for me to be able to scream in mortal pain out in front of all the people, and to be able to express, you know, like just pain, because we all carry pain around, right? So as an actor, we get to purge these things, you know, we get to say we love each other and express emotions and express pain that we may otherwise have to pay for at some therapy session, right? So it was really, you know, and I was afraid because I was like, what if it's silly and looks bad? And I was really kind of proud of that moment. So for me, those are the two.
And wait, what are you going to bring home? I mean, if you're going to try to swipe the metronome, what are you trying to swipe?
I'm going to try and swipe so many things. Because eBay, slow down the road, Jack. I kept walking out. You know, the wardrobe mistress at the show, they were saying, you know, this edict had come from the network. You're allowed to take 4 of your favorite wardrobe pieces from the, and I went to my wardrobe and she was like, well, there's really nothing left, Eddie. You've basically taken it all. It's like last year I come walking, I'm like, I'm gonna take a few things.
Eddie had all sorts of Gucci and Prada.
It's all Prada. I mean, there's a reason Pete talks about Prada, because I'm a complete label whore. And so, you know, like, all my stuff is Prada and Gucci and stuff, so it's cool, but I'm gonna try and take the football, and I'd love to, because I'm from Canton, Ohio, which is home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and the football's really cool, and my dad and I played, blah, 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 and we cried. And then the Tesla rifle, I think I'm gonna try, and then at least either a Farnsworth or a Tesla, because we have a few of them.
The brony.
So my question is kind of like hers, and you kind of answered it, but if you could use any artifact, no downsides, what would it be?
I got one. Thanks. And I have been saying this since the first time this question was asked to me 5 years ago, but it would be Janis Joplin's backstage pass from Woodstock. And anyone who held that backstage pass could travel to any concert that's ever been that they want to go to, so that I could go back and see, you know, Led Zeppelin and the Doors, and the Beatles, and you know, all the bands that my dad turned me on to when I was a little kid, but I was too young to go. And then, you know, of course, they all die. But then there is a downside actually, because Janis Joplin loved to drink Jack Daniels, so at every show you'd have to drink a bottle of Jack, and then you'd end up in rehab with Lindsay Lohan. So it's like you'd have to go to a Justin Bieber concert. It's all. Oh, I the Biebs.
We can't.
Just because
It's what we love.
Just because he spit on some kid,
You know.
peed in a bucket,
Yeah.
and told our ex-president to. Anyway,
Did you?
lovely young man. What's yours? Thank you.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Okay. Yes, over here.
I've been a huge fan of the show since the beginning, and my question is, what is the funniest story that you've had from working behind the scenes on the show?
There's numerous.
Man, I was thinking, I mean, it's all so fun and funny. I mean, we laugh just the other day, Armando, I don't know if any of you guys follow me on Twitter. Thank you.
That was a shameless social media. What is it? What is your Twitter name? Just share with us.
It's my name, Eddie McClintock.
So follow him now.
Anyway, I've been posting pictures of Armando, which is my Pete and Micah and Artie get trapped in a telenovela. And if you've ever seen a telenovela, it is it's a Hispanic soap opera. And so, here, I don't know if you can see me. Can you see? Armando has this giant mustache, and he's got a big soul patch, and we made my eyebrows real big, and feathered hair, like big feathered hair, with a red satin shirt, like chest hairs hanging out with a gold chain. And I mean, am I painting an appropriate picture?
I think you might even be downplaying it a bit.
And Saul plays Coronel Rafael Obregon, and I mean, he is hilarious. And Joanne plays Maribel, and we've been taking Spanish lessons for the last 2.5 months. And so we all speak fluent Spanish in the show. It was the hardest episode of the 5 years that I've ever done. Like being able to speak 60, 70 pages of Spanish, and to be able to like put the inflection in the right place, and to be able to know what you're saying and what your cues are. But it is absolutely, in my opinion, the funniest episode that we've ever done, and we laughed harder the past 2 weeks than we've ever laughed. And Aaron gets to play 2 parts on the show. He plays Aaron, and then right?
I play Serious Steve. He gets broken into 2 characters, Serious Steve and the most flamboyantly gay version of Steve. And it was fun. It was freeing, as Eddie says, to go there. But one thing, there's my buddy Jake down here who I know wants to ask a question real quick, but I might be putting you on the spot a little bit.
Oh.
Is that okay?
Sure.
I'm gonna do it anyways, even if it wasn't.
So I have no shame.